Somaliland. Why do we keep making the same mistake over and over and over again? I'm talking about whenever we attempt to extract our natural resources, our God-given gifts, meant to give us the tools, wealth, and knowledge to transform our lives forever, then why does it always end up in a bloodshed? Why does it always end up in a standoff between local residents and government soldiers, with shady businessmen lurking in the background, manipulating the situation for their own gains? I know this experience isn't unique to Somaliland, but why does it have to be this way? Why haven't we learned from the mistakes of the past? Why haven't we broken this cycle? Welcome to Somaliland 360, presented by Blueprint Media. My name is Abdifatah Qalinly. Let's read between the lines. Over the past 34 years, Somaliland as a nation, whenever we have attempted to tap into our underground wealth, our natural resources, we have faced repeated tragedies each time. For example, most recently, just in the last few weeks, in a city called Agabar, as part of Gabili state, where the prospects of lithium and uranium mining turned deadly when clashes erupted between local communities and security forces, leading to 2 fatalities. In the Togdheer state, early petroleum exploration sparked protests, leaving lives lost and promises unfulfilled. In both Sanag and Awdal states, gold mining ventures saw local residents, government troops, and miners locked into a violent conflict, often instigated by shady business interests. In the Sahil state of Somaliland, efforts to extract rare earth minerals ended in yet another standoff, with armed conflict and fatalities. I could go on and on for days, but these instances happen in different states, with different local communities, mining different resources, and different business entities involved. But the results were heartbreakingly familiar: bloodshed, broken trusts, and resources that never benefited the communities who live above them. Before we delve into these stories, let's frame our investigation with 4 critical questions. Number 1, why do we keep repeating these deadly cycles each time resources are discovered? Number 2, what are the underlying causes of clashes between local residents and government forces? Number 3, how have business leaders manipulated these situations for personal gain? Somaliland has now been governing itself for 34 years in its current iteration, and over the decades, we have developed institutions from representative parliament to regional administrations to a central government that was designed to unite our communities, protect our land, and lead us to prosperity for all. Yet, every time a new resource is found, we fall back into the same tragic pattern. Despite having dedicated ministries like the Ministry of Mining and Natural Resources, there is little meaningful early engagement with affected communities. Announcements are made in the capital. Villagers and local residents learn secondhand. Let's look at it from another perspective. Contract bidding, license processing, and revenue sharing formulas by the letter of the law are expected to be published and broken down and approved by the government and its institutions. Yet they're never explained to the local communities. They're never detailed and expounded upon. They're designed in a way to create ambiguity. If you look at the actions of the companies that are getting these licenses and contracts, commitments on jobs that they promised local communities, local investments, environmental protections routinely go unfulfilled. So trust erodes before a single drill bit hits the ground. Now here's another one. Well-connected businessmen leverage political ties to secure sweetheart deals, structure contracts so the lion's share of the profit flow out of these communities while the communities get a fraction of the benefits. I believe until we pair our natural resource extraction efforts with genuine community outreach, clear disclosures, and enforceable guarantees, we're bound to keep replaying this nightmare over and over again. Usually when local residents finally hear of a new mining or drilling project, often through word of mouth when businessmen that have vital interest try to buy community and traditional leaders in advance to garner their support and use them as a shield when things turn sideways. On the other hand, local residents who are mostly nomadic people who spend their entire life living and protecting their ancestral land, and often their livelihoods depend on the vitality of this land, they often feel feel shut out of the process and exploited. That sense of exclusion sparks distrust, which ignites clashes. Because misinformation breeds fear, rumors swirling that soldiers are there to grab their grazing land or their water well, especially when no local liaisons or coordinators are sent. Also, let's consider the security overlapses. When troops are sent with government backing and under instructions to keep the peace, oftentimes these troops lack the community engagement training to diffuse tensions. How about the accountability void? When clashes happen, investigations are slow, so locals see there's no recourse, no protection for them. They believe they must resist. For example, in the Togdheer state of Somaliland, petroleum exploration, villagers protested having their camels' trails blocked. Security forces responded with force, with no dialogue. That single failure of outreach and follow-through turned a technical dispute into deadly violence. Now let me give you another perspective. From the business community's perspective, behind every stalled promise is a profit-hungry partner. Always remember that. Who designed the deal to pay out fast and heavy, of course to themselves, and leave local needs for last. Business figures often sponsor election campaigns or make discreet donations, earning them the ear of political leadership, giving them the power to never have to deliver or be enforced upon. Key contractual clauses, like the percentage of gross revenue going to community development, are buried or ignored. Next, if you ask yourself who is expected to enforce the law, to enforce contractual obligations, to enforce that revenue is shared accordingly, to enforce that promises are delivered, to protect the right of local residents. If you said the elected leadership, bingo. But don't forget the business figures sponsor or donate to political leadership. I hope now you get it. Let me give you an example. In Agabar city, as part of the Gibili state in Somaliland, the lithium and the uranium exploration contract went to a single company that was majority owned by a foreigner or a non-Somalilander who contributed handsomely to the Wadani party and President Erro's campaign. Shortly after President Erro's inauguration, the company license was upgraded from an exploration license to a mining and extraction license without any bidding and without any transparency. And it was rumored that top political figures were given silent shares in the newly approved company. Months later, the local communities and government troops clashed. 2 teenagers were shot dead, and as you could imagine, the government rushed in to sweep the entire matter under the rug. In conclusion, Somaliland was built on resilience. We survived bloody wars, famines, and a brutal dictator. We have built this nation brick by brick with no external support or funding. We have established and maintained a democracy in a region that is dominated by strongman dictators. Now, as the ground beneath our feet grows more valuable, we face a choice. Let fear and greed tear us apart, or come together, learn from the past, and build a future where our natural resources lift us all. Let today's stories of loss fuel tomorrow's resolve for justice, transparency, and shared prosperity. Because our resources are more than minerals. They are the promise of what Somaliland can become. My name is Abdifatah Qalinly. This was a special report by Somaliland 360, where we read between the lines. Please share, like, and subscribe. Until next time.